and good day. My name is Jürgen Steinmetz from eTurboNews, and this is a breaking news update. For more news updates and shows, please go to youtube.com/travel news group. youtube.com/travel news group. Here's our update.
Uber or Lyft, safe or dangerous? Driving for Uber, Lyft or taxis can be extremely dangerous. This is specifically true in major U.S. cities, where crime and gun violence are a daily threat. The offices of the United States attorneys are now trying to get on top of this crime trend in many American towns. Minneapolis in the U.S. state of Minnesota is one of these cities. Tourist areas, where you'll find most of the popular things to do in Minneapolis, are generally safe. Tourists should mostly be on the lookout for petty crimes, like pickpocketing and bicycle theft. In Hawaii, Charlie's taxi made Uber speechless, but it wasn't about violence. Outside these regular and popular tourist spots, driving in Minneapolis can be dangerous. With a population of 429,954, Minneapolis has a combined rate of violent and property crime that is very high compared to other places of a similar population size. 2 Minneapolis men charged in a violent carjacking conspiracy targeting Uber and Lyft drivers. 2 men have been charged in a 20-count indictment for their roles in a series of violent carjackings and armed robberies targeting Uber and Lyft drivers, announced U.S. Attorney Andrew M. Lugar. Last month, along with federal and local law enforcement partners, I announced a new strategy to address the rising violent crime in our communities. Today's indictment represents an important step forward in that strategy. As alleged, these 2 defendants led a carjacking ring that engaged in a series of violent, premeditated acts against Uber and Lyft drivers, said U.S. Attorney Lugar. According to court documents, between September and October 2021, Chevirio Kavirian Childs Young, 18, and William Charles Saffold, 20, along with others, engaged in a series of violent carjackings and armed robberies, targeting Uber and Lyft drivers. As part of the scheme, members of the conspiracy lured victim drivers to particular locations under the guise of picking up or dropping off passengers. When the victim drivers arrived, members of the conspiracy brandished firearms and demanded the cell phones and wallets of the victim drivers. Members of the conspiracy forced the victim drivers at gunpoint to unlock their cell phones and provide passcodes. The conspiracy members then transferred money, via Cash App or other applications, from the accounts of the victim drivers to the accounts of members of the conspiracy. Members of the conspiracy then carjacked the victim drivers at gunpoint. To intimidate and force compliance, members of the conspiracy struck pistol-whipped, and threatened to kill the victim drivers. Childs Young and Saffold are charged with conspiracy, brandishing firearms during and in relation to a crime of violence, aiding and abetting carjacking, and aiding and abetting interference with commerce by robbery, Hobbs Act. Saffold made his initial appearances earlier today in U.S. District Court before Magistrate Judge John Dougherty. He was ordered to remain in custody pending further proceedings. Childs Young is in state custody and is expected to appear in U.S. District Court at a later date. This case is being prosecuted as part of the joint federal, state, and local Project Safe Neighborhoods (PSN) program, the centerpiece of the Department of Justice's violent crime reduction efforts. PSN is an evidence-based program proven to be effective at reducing violent crime. Through PSN, a broad spectrum of stakeholders works together to identify the most pressing violent crime problems in the community and develop comprehensive solutions to address them. As part of this strategy, PSN focuses enforcement efforts on the most violent offenders and partners with locally based prevention and reentry programs for lasting reductions in crime. This case is the result of an investigation conducted by the FBI and the Minneapolis Police Department. U.S. Attorney Andrew M. Lugar and Assistant U.S. Attorney Thomas Calhoun Lopez are prosecuting the case.
Thank you for listening to our news update. There's more on youtube.com/travel news group, or you can read us, of course, in going to our news portal at eTurboNews.com or travelnews.online.